Some people steal quietly. Some steal when no one's watching. And then there are people who steal right in front of a judge, believing money, status, and entitlement will protect them. This is the story of a woman who treated a courtroom like a luxury boutique, and a 16-year-old girl who walked in with nothing but the truth. And what happens next will remind you why courts exist in the first place. Providence Municipal Court feels heavier on Thursday afternoons. By the end of the week, the walls seem to absorb human conflict, grief, anger, betrayal, all settling into the air. Sunlight cuts through tall windows at an angle that makes dust visible. Families whisper. Attorneys shuffle papers. A low murmur fills the room. Then, the bailiff's voice slices through the noise. Estate matter. Morrison Family Trust. Petition filed by Emily Morrison, age 16. Regarding misappropriation of trust funds by guardian Diane Morrison. The words don't echo. They accuse. The courtroom doors open. Diane Morrison walks in like she's entering a high-end boutique. She's 46, but money has softened time for her. Designer surgery. Designer hair. Designer confidence. Oversized Chanel sunglasses stay firmly on her face. A perfectly tailored Valentino pantsuit hugs her frame. An Hermes Birkin bag, worth more than a year of college tuition, swings casually from her arm. Her fingers glitter with diamonds. On her right hand, her late husband's wedding band, reset with larger stones. Rebranded. Reclaimed. Hers. She doesn't look at the gallery. She doesn't acknowledge the stares. She doesn't slow down. Because in her mind, this room exists for her inconvenience. Third row. A 16-year-old girl clutches a folder to her chest like a life preserver. Emily Morrison. She has her father's eyes, dark, serious, red from crying. She's wearing jeans and a simple sweater. Nothing designer. Nothing loud. Nothing expensive. Beside her sits her grandmother. 70 years old. Hands rough from work. Clothes washed too many times to count. One arm wraps protectively around Emily's shoulders. The other grips the bench so tightly her knuckles turn white. The contrast between them and Diane Morrison is almost unbearable. Diane never looks their way. Judge Frank Caprio enters. The bailiff calls the room to rise. When everyone sits, the judge adjusts his reading glasses and reviews the file in silence. His face reveals nothing, but his stillness demands respect. Good afternoon. His voice is calm, professional. This is a serious matter involving a minor child and her deceased father's estate. Ms. Morrison, you are the petitioner's stepmother and current guardian. Is that correct? Diane exhales sharply, the sigh of someone annoyed by being interrupted. Yes, Your Honor. Though I honestly don't know why we're here. I've handled everything since my husband passed. This is just teenage drama. She waves her hand dismissively. Diamonds flash. The courtroom stiffens. Judge Caprio looks up. His eyes land on the sunglasses. Ms. Morrison, remove your sunglasses. This is a courtroom, not a fashion show. The words are simple, but the edge behind them silences the room. Diane removes the glasses slowly. Deliberately. She rolls her eyes. Of course, Your Honor. I didn't realize we were that formal here. Sarcasm hangs in the air like frost. We are formal here, Judge Caprio replies. This is a court of law. He doesn't raise his voice. He doesn't need to. Emily's petition alleges you misappropriated funds from her trust, specifically her college fund and inheritance. How do you respond? Diane sighs again. Longer. Louder. Teenagers always think they know better than adults. I've been managing household expenses. Emily eats. Uses electricity. Lives in the house. She doesn't understand how expensive life is. She says it smoothly, like a reasonable adult burdened by a spoiled child. Emily's grandmother tightens her grip. Emily blinks back tears. The guardian ad litem stands. Her voice is firm. Your Honor, the trust was extremely specific. $280,000 designated exclusively for Emily's future. College education. First home. Long-term financial security. Not household expenses. Not personal use. Judge Caprio reviews the documents carefully. I see that. The language is unambiguous. He looks directly at Diane. Can you account for how you managed these funds over the last 14 months? For the first time, Diane hesitates. I can account for every penny. Running a household isn't cheap. Her voice sharpens. And maybe my husband wasn't thinking clearly when he wrote that will. The courtroom goes silent. Judge Caprio slowly lifts his gaze. And in that moment, everyone understands something has shifted. Diane Morrison straightens in her chair, her voice sharp with entitlement. He was sick for months before he died. Cancer affects the brain. He didn't understand how expensive everything would become. He was being sentimental and impractical. The words hit the courtroom like a slap. Gasps ripple through the gallery. A woman audibly whispers, "Unbelievable." Emily's grandmother half rises from her seat, her face burning with rage, before someone gently pulls her back down. The guardian ad litem's expression hardens, controlled fury barely restrained. Judge Caprio raises a single hand. The room goes still. "Ms. Morrison," he says calmly, "suggesting your late husband was mentally incompetent is a serious allegation." His eyes lock onto hers. "Do you have medical evidence?" "Because this trust was drafted by an attorney. Witnessed. Notarized. Executed lawfully." He leans back slightly. "Unless you are prepared to challenge his mental capacity with actual proof, we will return to the real issue." A pause. "How you spent Emily's money." The guardian ad litem doesn't hesitate. "Your Honor, we subpoenaed Ms. Morrison's financial records. All accounts. All statements." She turns toward the bench. "In 14 months, approximately $87,000 was withdrawn from Emily's trust." A murmur spreads. That's over $6,000 per month. For the care of one teenager. Judge Caprio leans forward. $87,000, he repeats slowly. "Ms. Morrison, that is an extraordinary amount." His gaze sharpens. "Please explain these expenditures." Diane shifts in her seat. Confidence falters, but she pushes through. "I had to maintain the home my husband bought. There were repairs, maintenance, necessary upgrades. A home is an investment." She gestures casually. "Emily benefits from living well. Would you rather she live in squalor?" Judge Caprio doesn't flinch. "Upgrades," he says evenly. "This trust was not for renovations or property value. It was for education and future security." Diane snaps back. "Maintenance and upgrades aren't always clear. Cheap cabinets or quality ones. Bad repairs or proper work." She leans forward. "Emily lives there. She benefits." The guardian ad litem steps forward, papers in hand. "Your Honor, may I present Exhibit A?" She turns slightly so the courtroom can see. "These are itemized withdrawals from Emily's trust. I believe the court needs to see what Ms. Morrison considers maintenance." Judge Caprio accepts the documents. The courtroom falls into complete silence. Pages turn, one after another. His brow tightens. His lips press thin. With each page, the air grows colder. Finally, he looks up. Judge Caprio's voice is steady, but heavier now. "Ms. Morrison, I'm going to read some of these expenditures aloud." He pauses. "Luxury vacation to Aruba, $8,400. Mercedes-Benz lease payments, $12,600. Designer clothing from Neiman Marcus, Saks, and Nordstrom, $11,200. Jewelry from Tiffany & Company, $6,800. Spa and salon services, $5,600. Fine dining and entertainment, $9,100. The room is frozen. Ms. Morrison, you spent a deceased man's daughter's college fund on vacations, cars, clothes, and jewelry. He looks directly at her. Explain how this benefits Emily. Emily breaks. Tears stream freely now. Her grandmother pulls her close. In the gallery, hands cover mouths. Heads shake in disbelief. Diane's face flushes. I was grieving, she snaps. My husband died. I needed to take care of my mental health. Her voice rises. When I'm well, I can take care of Emily better. It's all connected. Judge Caprio responds instantly. David's will is very clear. He wanted his daughter's future protected. There is not a single word about funding your comfort. Diane's patience snaps. I'm her legal guardian. I have discretion. She has food. A roof. Then, she should be grateful she's not in foster care. The courtroom erupts. Emily's grandmother stands fully. How dare you? My son worked himself to the bone. Her voice breaks. That money was his dream for her future. And you spent it on handbags and beaches. Judge Caprio gently raises a hand. Ma'am, please sit. Your anger is justified. Then he turns. Judge Caprio softens. Emily, please approach the bench. The girl rises on shaking legs. Her grandmother steadies her. She looks impossibly small at the stand. Judge Caprio's voice is gentle now. Take your time. Tell me what's been happening at home since your father passed. Emily swallows hard. Her voice trembles. Your Honor, after my dad died. She pauses. Takes a breath. Everything changed. Judge Caprio doesn't raise his voice. He doesn't need to. Counselor, he says calmly. Taking money designated for a child's education and placing it into a personal account that the child cannot access. He pauses. Is not an accounting error. The courtroom leans in. It is embezzlement. The word lands like a thunderclap. A ripple spreads through the gallery. Someone whispers. That's exactly what it is. Diane Morrison freezes. For the first time today, she looks scared. Judge Caprio turns back to the guardian ad litem. The personal account, he asks. Was this disclosed to the court? No, Your Honor. To Emily? No. To any supervising authority? No. Judge Caprio nods slowly. So while telling a 16-year-old girl there was no money for college, you were quietly stockpiling $35,000 for yourself. Diane tries to speak. Nothing comes out. Judge Caprio turns toward Emily. His voice softens again. Emily, everything your father intended for you still matters. Emily looks up, eyes red, hopeful and terrified all at once. Your grades matter. Your dreams matter. And this court will not allow anyone to steal your future. Her grandmother squeezes her hand. Emily exhales, for the first time all day. Judge Caprio straightens. This is no longer discussion. This is judgment, based on the evidence presented, the financial records, and the testimony of the minor child and her grandmother. He looks directly at Diane Morrison. I find that you knowingly and intentionally misappropriated trust funds. You abused your authority as both guardian and trustee. Diane's face drains of color. Effective immediately, you are removed as Emily Morrison's legal guardian. You are removed as trustee of her father's estate. A gasp sweeps the room. Judge Caprio continues. You are ordered to repay every dollar taken from the trust, including penalties and interest. He doesn't pause. This matter is hereby referred to the district attorney's office for criminal investigation into theft, fraud, and embezzlement. Diane grips the table. Her luxury means nothing now. A forensic audit will be conducted, and all remaining assets will be frozen immediately. The bailiff steps closer, just in case. The guardian ad litem steps forward again, and the courtroom feels it. Guardian ad litem, calm but deadly. Your Honor, there's more. Every head turns. Mr. Morrison had a $500,000 life insurance policy. Half was placed into Emily's trust. The other half, $250,000, went directly to Diane Morrison. Judge Caprio looks up sharply. Ms. Morrison received $250,000 outright. Diane's face drains of color. Diane, quickly. That money is gone. Funeral costs. Medical bills. Debts. The guardian shakes her head slowly. Guardian, we verified everything. The funeral cost $18,000. Medical bills were covered by insurance. Debts totaled less than $10,000. A pause. She cannot account for nearly $200,000 of her own inheritance. Yet she continued draining her stepdaughter's trust. The courtroom goes silent. Judge Caprio leans back, removes his glasses, rubs the bridge of his nose. When he speaks, his voice is quiet, but devastating. Judge Caprio, you spent your $250,000 in just over a year. Then instead of changing your lifestyle, you took from a 16-year-old girl's college fund. He looks directly at Diane. You bought vacations, cars, and jewelry, while telling that child she wasn't smart enough for college. Diane's voice cracks. Diane, I can pay it back. I was grieving. I made mistakes. Judge Caprio puts his glasses back on. Judge Caprio, cold. You were confused while booking luxury vacations, while test driving Mercedes, while shopping at Tiffany. A beat. That's not confusion. That's calculation. The guardian clears her throat. Guardian, Your Honor, Emily kept a journal. She's given permission for relevant entries to be read. Emily nods through tears. Her grandmother holds her tight. The guardian opens the notebook. Guardian, reading. March 15th. Diane said my dad probably regretted having me. That if it weren't for the will, I'd be in foster care. The courtroom murmurs. June 3rd. Diane laughed when I asked about college. She said I should get used to disappointment. Gasps. August 22nd. She brought her boyfriend home and told me to move on. Said she wasn't putting her life on hold for me. People shake their heads. October 10th. She said she'd sell the house, and I could stay with Grandma. Like I was a problem, not a person. The room is boiling. Judge Caprio looks directly at Diane. Judge Caprio, do you deny saying these things? Diane snaps. Diane. She's dramatic. Sensitive. Difficult. The judge's voice sharpens. Judge Caprio, a grieving child is difficult? Diane explodes. Diane, shouting. I lost my husband too. I gave up my life for her. Judge Caprio stands. The entire courtroom freezes. Judge Caprio, you gave up nothing. You lived off her inheritance, called her names, and stole her future. Then Diane says the words that end everything. She points at Emily. Diane, that little brat doesn't deserve a dime anyway. The courtroom erupts. The bailiff steps in. The gavel slams. Once, twice, 3 times. Judge Caprio. Order. Silence. Judge Caprio's voice is ice. Judge Caprio. In 38 years on this bench, rarely have I seen such cruelty directed at a child. He looks at Diane. Effective immediately. You are removed as guardian. Removed as trustee. Custody is granted to the grandmother. Diane's breath stops. You will return every penny with interest. You have 30 days to vacate the home. And this case is referred for criminal prosecution. Diane whispers. Diane, you can't do this. Where will I go? Judge Caprio doesn't hesitate. Judge Caprio, you should have thought of that before you stole from an orphan. Gavel. Court is adjourned. Judge Caprio looks at Diane one last time. You mistook responsibility for ownership. You mistook grief for entitlement. His voice hardens. And you mistook a child's trust for a personal bank account. He turns toward Emily. Your father did everything right. And today, so did you. Diane collapses into her chair, defeated. In the gallery, Emily cries in her grandmother's arms. But for the first time in 14 months, they're tears of relief. A 16-year-old girl walked into court with nothing but the truth. A grown woman walked in wearing luxury and lies. Only one of them walked out protected. Because in a real courtroom, money doesn't decide justice. Character does. She thought she could steal a child's future. But one courtroom moment changed everything. If this story made you angry, if it made you emotional, if it reminded you why justice matters, Backhand Index Pointing Right, subscribe for more real courtroom stories. Backhand Index Pointing Right, like if you believe children deserve protection. Backhand Index Pointing Right, comment. Should guardians who steal from minors face prison time? Because this channel doesn't defend power. It exposes it.